Right, so I would like to say a very good evening to us all, to everyone that is here today. My name is Jerry Adeshewo. Jerry as in Jeremiah Adeshewo. And we are here today, I mean, on the WhatsApp broadcast, what you will see there is Holding Talks 19. Okay, so I'll just quickly tell you that Holding Talks is an initiative of ours where we host interactions, and we have had a couple of interactions that has to do with, even our ongoing project with Mercator on that platform. And so it is on that platform too, because this is an interaction meant to celebrate a gentle achiever. I mean, Dr. YZ is one person we all know. I mean, in the last 2 years, I have gotten to know him even more closely. And from what I have heard people say about him, there is no doubting the fact that it is one very gentle, very silent achiever that deserves every celebration or honor that we can afford to accord him. I mean, that is the reason for this very august, gathering here this evening. As much as you know him, he is not a noisemaker. So it is possible that many of us didn't even know that his birthday passed within the week. Thank you for my ever current partner in crime here today, Jack Vince. Even it was going to pass, I wouldn't have remembered too. But when he made his post, I said, bros, we can't allow this to pass. And that is why we are here this evening. The idea is not to bore us. The idea is to just, I mean, like we say sometimes in our course, in our own quarters, I'm a theater practitioner, and we say there is the need for us to pour libation on doctor's head. And that is why we are here this evening. If not for COVID, maybe we would have planned something more surprising and interesting. But see, it is not just about celebrating, actually, but it is also about learning from this man called Dr. YZ, and that is why we are here this evening. And very quickly, I like to recognize the presence here of my co-moderator, Jack Vince, and of course also the presence here of Dr. Aminu Hayatu of Bayero University, who is going to tell us probably what we don't know about Malam YZ. He is going to tell us today, and then in a short interaction, myself and Jack Vince are going to ask, Malam YZ some questions that the younger generation, the coming generation, and even those of us who are here can still learn from his journey thus far. So I welcome us here this evening once again. That is why we are here, or this is why we are here. And of course, we are going to go straight into inviting Dr. Aminu Hayatu. Dr. Aminu Hayatu is of the Political Science Department of Bayero University in Kano, and he is going to deliver his introductory. Please note that this is being recorded. Please mute yourself as you come in. Kindly mute yourself as you come in. Dr. Aminu Hayatu is of the Political Science Department in Bayero University, and this evening is going to tell us what we simply call the man YZ. I mean, that takes me back to a couple of years ago when we did something like this for Professor Wole Soyinka, and when he was 77, he's 86 this year. That was when he was 77, and we simply call it the man is writing his battles, the lesson for the future. I mean, so that's the kind of thing that we are going to hear this evening. It's not a long lecture, so don't worry. We are not going to bore you. It's not a very long lecture. It's just for him to tell us about the man, YZ, and then we go into the other part of it where we have some poetry reading, and then, of course, we have the interaction with Dr. YZ. So I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. Aminu Hayatu to address us. Thank you. Dr. Aminu, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jack, and other attendees. I'm glad to have myself on board. Thank you to you, Jerry, and thank you to you, Jack, also. I can see that, yeah, Jerry, your partner in crime, is smiling, so I don't know the conspiracy the two of you have behind this. But in any case, I'm glad, you know, yes, to be given the opportunity to actually speak about my boss. I don't know if this is going to be a lifetime opportunity for me. But then actually this one, I must be grateful. And I will start off by apologizing to Sir YZ himself because he may feel a bit embarrassed when you know, make open some of the things that he thought would never be in the public space. But I think it's still all right. And also sorry for not a live video because I'm having network issues here. So when I put the video, it may still make it a bit not too good. So, but I just want to actually start off by saying that the man YZ is someone who many people never knew that he's an electrical engineer by profession. Wow. He read electrical engineering in Bayero University and ABU respectively, where he actually later came to teach in that university. But while he was a student in both places, that is the BUK and ABU, he was a very active member of the Pan-African Nigerian student movement. You know, you would all agree with me that that patriotic youth movement of Nigeria, PYMN, was very vibrant then. So he was actually a patriotic member of that union. He was also, you know, in the central committee of the local affiliates of the PYMN in BUK, you know, and also AIYF and in ABU. So all this, you know, he has been participating, you know, the movement for progressive Nigeria, you know. So YZ actually got to join the teaching staff of the Department of Electrical Engineering in that university, BUK, as his alma mater, after his NYSC, rejecting, in fact, at that time, 2 private sector company offers, you know. One of them is an oil company, and the other one is a telecommunication company. He rejected them, you know, the offers they gave him to come and work with them and then to teach in Bayero University. He took a passion and wanted to really be a lecturer. So as a student, you know, back in those days, he was drawn to the circles of radical lecturers in both BUK and ABU. You know, BUK has been is a product of ABU. So you know, those days there is this back and forth communication between the 2 campuses, and then, you know, he teamed up with them later to form the Kano Group, which eventually became a founding member of the Socialist Congress of Nigeria. He became a founding member of that. He also joined the radical feminist organization, Women in Nigeria. That's, you know, you see the acronym WIN, right from its foundation in ABU. So he has been a founding member there. As a student, you know, along with others, they formed the Youth Solidarity on Southern Africa, USAN, to mobilize students against things like apartheid in South Africa. Following graduation, you know, and needing to continue this aspect of the struggle, they regrouped, you know, him and other friends whom they have been working together into the Nigerian ANC friendship, you know, the South African ANC friendship that it was obtainable in those days, and cultural association, which was called NAFCA. He joined that one, and then, you know, the principal strength of that NAFCA were actually Lagos and Kano, where himself, YZ, was the Secretary General. it was a gigantic move, and then he was likely the Secretary General, and because his activism was in high spirit then. So I mean, they mobilized support for South African liberation movements, down here in Nigeria, and their advocacy at the moment that Nigerian government was incisive about its support for the liberation movements led to a firm declaration and what you can call support by Nigeria throwing its weight behind the ANC and SWAPO. You can imagine what it is for someone to be active in these organizations that actually help liberation movements really make sense at that time. So, the ANC and the SWAPO as the legitimate representative of the people of South Africa and Namibia, and beginning a massive support for the organization. So, I mean, many of YZ's generation, former students, activists found themselves, in the labor movement and in the academia, as well as in the media, thus helping in facilitating a strong alliance between labor and the academia, which actually paved the way for the strong participation of organizations like ASU in NLC. That was the time, in LSC activities until, he was expelled by until actually it was expelled by the government in 1986 from NLC. So YZ could serve ASU in various capacities, and he had done that first as PRO officer of BUK, and then zonal coordinator, national youth auditor, and the member of the National Negotiation Committee for more than 7 years. He was one of the 18 academics in BUK who were sacked at that time. At that time, the atmosphere was heated, and YZ was one of the 18 lecturers that were sacked under the administration. We're having some distractions. Okay, he was among the 18 lecturers that were sacked for refusing to go back to work, when the 1996 strike collapsed in BUK. So, I mean, but he was among those who stood firm against that, and he was eventually expelled alongside other 17 other lecturers. So nationally, if you look at that, it was a fertile ground for struggle. And in the emergence of a number of human rights organizations, with the Civil Liberties Organization as the key organization, YZ served for 8 years on its governing board, serving 2 terms as president of the Community, Action for Popular Participation, which was called CAPP, which later became a platform for more radical wing of human rights. So I'm saying that, if you look at all this, and then later on the campaign against military rule, you remember the military days, that time when people were pursued all over the place for speaking out against injustice and dictatorship. At that time, it has gathered momentum with IBB's shifting the goal, and a number of the activities which came together and formed the campaign for democracy. So YZ was one of its coordinators at that time. You could see how very difficult it is even to identify yourself with that kind of thing. So when a major crisis ruptured the CD, they moved to form the United Actions for Democracy. You can see, moving from one state to another, from one platform to another, and working in alliance with other platforms, all in the name of, human rights, democratic practices, and all of that. So they moved to form that United Action for Democracy, UAD, actually. And then when a major crisis ruptured the CD, when a major crisis ruptured, that was when they formed that, and then the Democratic Alternative also. So all of these were the platforms which YZ actually was a founding member and a very active one. So YZ served in both organizations as first member of the National Coordinating Committee for UAD and National Vice President for the DA. You can see how one is getting elevated by virtue of the kind of role he plays in these organizations. So the June 12 struggle also got the comrades involved, and when it's intersected with ASU strike, it became complicated. And in BUK, one vice chancellor took to mobilizing some students to attack radical lecturers. You know, YZ and his friends actually experienced this terrible situation at that time. It was in that context that some students mobilized behind the Operation Manana, which can be translated as Operation Wide Kangpe, if you permit me to say that, to keep a vigil on the houses of targeted lecturers, including that of YZ, who had to evacuate his heavily pregnant wife at that time from his official residence in new campus. The pressure was so much that even students were mobilized against them and actually sponsored to really terrorize them. And this was the time when he had to move. He had a heavy wife with him, and there was no option then to do that, so he evacuated the quarters in new campus. So the June 12 would eventually lead to the arrest and detention of YZ 3 times. If other prominent members of the Nigerian state would say that they have been arrested and been put behind bars, you know, YZ would join them in giving his experience about this. You know what it means to be detained 3 times under a dictatorship regime. So by this time, YZ's dissatisfaction with things in the academia, you know, have actually produced a kind of thought in him for it to become obvious that he need to think of an alternative of something. So in 1999, he took a leave to coordinate a 4-year research project on the civil society and democracy movement, jointly being implemented by the Politics of Development Group of the Stockholm University, led by Prof. Johan Beckman. You know, you could remember the late Prof. Johan Beckman and his activities in Nigeria. So YZ was very active in him, with him in that. And then the Center for Research and Documentation, CRD, and later the Mumbai House, which became actually known to everyone. So in that, the YZ was participated, where he edited 4 major books, which was as a result of that. You know, following this, he formally resigned from the UK. So you can see the frustration, you know, that radicals at that time were being put to, people who would, you know, voice out their concern against injustices and things like that, and democratic practices. So in 2006, he directed the annual Child Institute of Codistria, you know, in Dakar, Senegal, on youth and ICTs. Remember, he's an IT guru, so that was a very important role he played. 3 years later, he coordinated a multinational research on Africa in the information society era. You know, bringing researchers from at that time more than 12 countries across the continent. And of course, since then, he has coordinated several other researches, you know, which time would not permit us to mention here. But then, you know, you can see all of that. And although primarily trained as an engineer, you know, people would think that his functions will be restricted to engineering things. But YZ, you know, is a publisher. He has published in different areas. He's a reader, he's a writer, and a publisher. So he has published in different areas, including mass media, politics, in sociology, etc. And he has authored also, co-authored, edited, co-edited over 20 books and published more than 50 journal articles and chapters in other books. I don't know how we can think of this would be possible with someone who has got a dangling experience about his career and things like that. But he remained undeterred, and all of this achievement came even after he resigned from the services of the university. So he has consulted for many organizations, and he's still consulting. You know, he has consulted for UNDP, he has consulted for USAID, he has consulted for DFID, and in fact, that has become a normal thing for him. State governments and the federal government at that. So, and has been a member of the committee that developed ICT policies for Kano and Jigawa states. You know, he has been consulting and been participating in all of this. Yes, advice and so on. So BUK and Nationally for Nigeria has also done that. He served as the consultant for the establishment of the Kano ICT, the famous Kano ICT park. So as a man of many parts, if you can use that on him, he served as the country of representative for the AITEC, you know, that that IT thing, you know, publishers of the Computers in Africa magazine, as well as the leading, you know, organizations of ICT conferences in the continent. You know, YZ, the man YZ is a columnist with several national newspapers and have signed more than 1,000 newspapers and magazines articles in various national papers. That's YZ. For many years, YZ ran a weekly column, you know, speaking out. Speaking out. The name of the column is Speaking Out. If you could remember that column in the Daily Independence. I kept imagining how someone would get the time to do all of this. So he's a registered member of the Computer Professionals Registration Council, Vice President of the Information Technology Industry Association, member of the Board of Trustees, Nigerian Internet Registration Association, and so on. You know, there are a lot of things to mention concerning his professional calling. You know, so the founding of the Center for Information Technology and Development itself was not without an irony, because in 1984, BUK Information Technology as an elective course unit, you know, a different computer science and programming, when IT was just you know, why is he taught this course? Why is he taught this course for 3 years? You know, and then of course, hello, am I on? Hello, hello, can
Yes,
you?
yes, you can hear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on, sir. Yeah, on, sir.
okay. You know, so he taught this course for 3 years until 1986. You know, uh, that time when university harmonization program was carried out by NUC, which actually said that it did not use, it's not going to make use of that, course. So you can see even in the university, there were these kind of challenges that actually had led to alternative thinking of setting up an organization independent of the university that can actually carry out these services, in fact, even in practical terms. So having invested much in the course, YZ, along with other friends, thought that if the university was not going to let the students learn from this, they could create a platform outside the universities to provide people who are interested, you know, or are curious to learn at least. This was how the computer literacy project actually came about, which later transformed into the idea of setting CTAD, Center for Information Technology and Development. So within the civil society organization movement, YZ has been deeply involved at various levels. He was for many years a member of the National Coordinating Committee of the Transition Monitoring Group, TMG, the popular one, that the first major independent election monitoring group in the country. He was also, you know, for many years, a co-chair of the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room. You know, he's the chairman governing board of CISLAC. You know, all of us know CISLAC. Served as chairman of the board of Alliance for Credible Elections, and is governing board member of WANEC. You can see all of that, you know, unfolding in the times of YZ. So the man YZ also is a member of ANA, Association of Original Authors, and has published a short story entitled A Night for the Law in Chidi, you know, Nganga, edited through the Laughter and Tears Modern Nigerian Short Stories. You know, you could remember that. I'm sure many of us have come across that. So his poems also being featured in a collection of edited ones by Niyi Osundare, and has his own collection of poems published under the title Midnight Monologue. You know, you always have that by by my bedside. So to promote literacy also, activities among young students, YZ has partnered with the Association of Nigerian Authors, ANA, the Kano chapter, on various youth poetry competitions, setting that tone for the lively, competition about that. So, which instituted the Marai on the table, and annual celebration of students, poetry, creativity, and storytelling among students of secondary schools in his native Jama'are River Valley, now running for the past 3 years. In short, I beg your pardon, Sir YZ, if I have embarrassed you to reveal some of the things, especially your personal experiences during those days, the turmoil in the university and all that. But then I can go on and on and on and on and on like that. But as a summary, I think this should be able to provide a hint of the man YZ Ya'u. So YZ is married with 3 daughters and 1 son. This is the brief that I have to say about him, and this is alongside uncountable experiences of people during his birthday celebrations who they have expressed. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, personally, I have gotten to know a lot more than I think I know about the man YZ. The man YZ, the engineer, the man YZ, the technology expert, the ICT expert, the man YZ, the writer. Please let us appreciate our celebrants today. If you can locate the icon reactions, let us give him a thunderous, applause. He deserves much more than that. He deserves much more than that. He deserves much more than that. Yes, thank you, everyone. And Dr. Aminu, yeah, thank you. Thank you. And to Dr. Aminu, we want to say very big thank you today. We appreciate this. It's very straight to the point. And okay, at this point, the next thing we are supposed to do is a poetry and musical interlude. However, the 2 young fellows who are supposed to do that for us, they are not on the call as we speak. They are not, I can't see them anywhere around. But you see, I am a theater person, and there is something we say, and that is that the show must go on. Even though the actor's leg is broken and blood is gushing out, the show must still go on. So let me share this poem, not written by myself, but when you look at the works of William Shakespeare, Sonnet 33, that says, "That time of year thou mayest in me behold," is one of the most literally appreciated piece of work by William Shakespeare. I will just share that poem. And then if there's any other person that has got a poem with which we can celebrate our celebrant today, just indicate and we'll give you opportunity to either read that poem or sing a song before we go to the brief interaction. This is not intended to be more than 1 hour, at best 15 minutes extra, because we didn't start exactly 6 p.m. So that poem says, it's by William Shakespeare, not by Jerry Adeshio. So it says, "That time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold. Bare ruined choirs, where late the sweet bird sung. In me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away death's second self, that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must live long." and that is a poem by William Shakespeare, which celebrates youthfulness in old age. And the reason I have chosen to read this, since we don't have our arranged poet and musician in the house, is the fact that, yes, with all we have just heard about our celebrants today, he's still very strong and going. I mean, he's still fighting. I use the word fight not in the sense of exchange of blow, as it were, but the fact that he is still very committed to the battles he has chosen. And I must confess to you personally, that is one thing that attracts me to the person of Malam YZ since I got to know him in person. I knew him before now, before the last 2 years, but in passing. But in the last 2 years, I've gotten to know him in person, and I mean, he has become one of the books. For me, in terms of mentorship, that is how I am mentored by people. I simply then turn them to books that I read. I may not necessarily come to you to ask questions or to ask favor or anything, but I study such people, and that was why we felt that this day must not pass, or this year must not pass, without us doing this small get-together on Zoom to commemorate your birthday. So while we await, probably maybe our guys will still join us and use a better song or a better well-composed poetry to celebrate Malam YZ. We will go straight into the interaction now, and I am unmuting our celebrants. So between myself in the next...
Hello, Jerry.
Yes, please.
Jerry.
Yes.
I have a poem. I have a poem I should read before we go on.
Let's take your poem first.
Yes. Yes. I must say a very big thank you to you, Jerry, for setting this up. And a very big thank you to everybody that is here, especially the celebrants, Dr. YZ. Dr. YZ is an inspiration to me as a person. From the very first day I knew him, he has always been my inspiration. And now I happened upon a poem I wrote, the draft actually of a poem I wrote in 2013, Aspiration. The title is Aspiration, a protege's prayer. I will read the poem now. I am a beast, your beast of welcome burden, yielding to the snap of filial whip brandished by your guiding hands. I am but a china, teetering on the edge of a table at the mercy of your intervention, lest I get swallowed by whirlwind of misguided actions on life's draconian stage. Caught between the hammer and the anvil of this life, you prevent my train from derailing the track of the desired destination. I want to be like you, my mentor, desiring a lifting of dark veils of illusion, blurring my vision, affixed for reality to be illuminated. Your mentee, I will forever be, beholding your fine-featured face, framed like a chalkboard with life's formulas inscribed therein. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Wow. What a very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful. And I am sure Jack Vince has not spoken for himself alone. He has spoken for me and probably for as many of us as are here that regards Malam YZ as our mentor. And you see, I'll quickly read something here by another of our guests here, Alima Amza Ibrahim, that says, I am highly delighted to be here, Jerry. Sir YZ is both a father and a mentor. Being my boss, I thought I am very familiar with his profile, but hearing Dr. Aminu's citation on him, I must say, I only knew 10% of what his impactful life is. May God continue to make his life more impactful to the present and coming generation. Amen. I studied communications in the university, but his mentorship introduced me to the practical aspect of the profession. To sum it up, his years of patient and tireless mentorship made me a writer, columnist, editor of a monthly magazine, producer and presenter of a weekly radio program, media and communications researcher, book chapter contributor, etc. He has done a lot of wonderful things to many young people across the country. His life is so inspiring. That is the tribute from Hamza Ibrahim, and we are going to get to hear a couple more. We are going to get to hear a couple more of such tributes in a short while. That is immediately after this interactive session that is going to follow now. So I am going to unmute our celebrant. I know network is a challenge. If it is possible for us to have you on video, fine. If it's not possible, no problem. We know your face very well. Very well. No matter how dark the darkness is, we know you too well. So thank you once again for giving us the opportunity to do this. And please bear with me. It is possible that you hear some sound sneaking in. It just got a bit noisy around me here, unfortunately. So these questions are not they are going to be a bit of some personal issues, or I don't know if that's the best way to put it. But I'm going to start this way, sir. I'm just going to start this way because the idea is for us to learn a little more from you, sir. And my first question will be to ask, sir, what is your most favorite childhood memory? I can see a hand up. We'll get to you. What is your most favorite childhood memory?
That's a very interesting question because I have never
the network is bad, so you can take the video up. Don't mind, we don't mind. I think we can manage without the video. The network is bad, so. All right.
Well, before we get Dr. YZ back on, I can see that Dahiru Aliyu has a tribute. Malam YZ is one of the revolutionary activists I know, he said, the wittiest among them. His genius lies in the power of his pen and the stanzas of his poems. His ability to combine intellectual dives and physical development works
me. I think that
network, why are you doing this?
We've probably lost him.
We lost
him. Yes, maybe Aliyu Dahir's
yes.
tribute can be.
So Jesse, let's continue with Aliyu's. Are we done with it? Okay. The power of his pen and the stanzas of his poems, his ability to combine intellectual dives and physical development works is impressively splendid. Happy birthday, sir. That is another tribute from Aliyu, Dahiru Aliyu. Oh dear, network is not fair to us. Okay, Malam YZ is back. All right, sir. So we can take your response now. The line was bad earlier, so we can take it now.
So as I was saying, that my most memorable childhood moments were going to the river from morning to afternoon and evening, going back home, not fearing anybody. Didn't know about terrorists. Even when the river was far away, we could still find our way home. I remember the melancholic music of the Ghats people who ride on the Ghats in the river. And we were sure that those people, once we follow the sounds, we were sure to get home. But most importantly, is, we had opportunity to eat natural food. We didn't have to take addictives, Maggi, sodium, and all those sort of things. You know, it was a peaceful life. And so when I reflect back, now I see that dense forest of my childhood has gone. I think that Nigeria has lost a lot of things.
You for that response, sir. And so I will just write on that and ask you, what are those things in your view that has changed between then and now? I mean, using Nigeria as a case study, like the way you just responded, what are those things that have changed?
I think a lot of things have changed. Permit me, because I'm also a climate reality leader. So I speak a lot about environment. So the landscape has changed. And because the landscape has changed, you also have a change in the pathways of the rivers. So you now have siltations and blockages, and that now results in more frequent flooding, which devastate the economies of people living along the paths of those valleys. But that's just at one level. I think that at another level, I see that there is a lot of problem in terms of our education system. I went to a public primary school in my place. I went to a public secondary school in my place, and I went to a public university. I think that I got one of the best education that Nigeria could offer. Was because I had access to good lecturers, good books, good library, and a very good environment to learn. But also because there was also encouragement. You know, let me tell you one story about my life that I didn't probably didn't know. I actually applied to read literature in the UK. And then one day the academic secretary called me, said, come. I didn't know him. He just called me to his office and gave me a letter to take to the Dean of Faculty of Technology. And there was I. My ambition for literature was crushed, and I was forced to read technology, read electrical engineering. So even reading electrical engineering had been by accident rather than design. So our education landscape has changed very much. Our attitude to reading, which is important, has drastically changed. Today, people finish university without knowing to read a single novel or even a book in their own field, except that it is recommended for these courses. Without reading culture, you would have a society that does not know itself. And once you don't know yourself, then you can be able to address your own problems. Politically, I think we have also changed. And the change is not so much fundamental in the sense of our politicians are now worse than what they were before. Thuggery was there in the 60s. Political violence was there. I remember when I was doing my column in Daily Independence, and there was talked about, our politicians have brought political violence. And I said that in northern Nigeria, Sardauna actually introduced and condoned violence. And I cited Gambo Sawaba, who was terribly mistreated and so forth, and many Nepu stewards in Kano, in Bauchi, in Zaria, in Funtua, and so forth. And I saw one response from somebody said, if not for Ebenedio, and I probably, no, if not for Sardauna, I would probably be serving there for Ebenedio who owned the newspaper that I was writing. So the change is more of about the volume rather than that we've now entered into a situation in which politicians are do or die in terms of election. But I think also there's a fundamental difference in terms of the way in which politicians of the past conducted themselves and politicians of now. In those days, even though you can talk about corruption, you can talk about embezzlement, but they have a sense of responsibility. They are able to conceive of programs, projects that impacted fantastically on the lives of the citizens. The Ahmad Bello University was set up by Sardauna. Awolowo was set up Obafemi Awolowo University, and so many other things. So they did quite a lot. And whenever I looked at the Gidan Murtala in Kano, and I remember that it wasn't constructed by the federal government, it wasn't constructed by Kano state government, it was constructed by Kano municipal local government. And I think that it's absolutely different in terms of what we see between the politicians of now and then. I must also say that the our media landscape has also changed. I think the media in the past was extremely professional, robust, driven by facts, and with good diction for language and artistic display. What we see now is actually the facts have gone to sleep, language is disappearing, and fake news has taken over. So, Jerry, I think that a lot of things have changed from my childhood to what I see now.
For that very inciting response. And so I'm going to quickly switch a little bit to some more personal question to ask you, sir, that I mean, what would you say is or are the best lesson that life has taught you? The best lesson or lessons that life has taught you?
I think that the best lesson that life has taught me is that you must plan your life, you must pursue your goals, set up your goals and pursue them. Never get disappointed, and keep on trying and trying and trying. And once you persevere, you will be able to achieve your goals. And I think that that for me is the best lesson that I can preach to other people. Let's not give up. Be very clear about what you want to do. Be very clear about the strategies that you want to deploy in terms of getting there. You might not have the resources, but building an ecosystem of support among the friends, comrades, mentors, and so forth, you will be able to surmount all the obstacles that will come to your way.
Thank you so much. Jarvis, any question from your end?
Yes, evidently, Dr. YZ is passionate about Nigeria. From his writings, from everything I know about him, he's very passionate about this country. I just want to know from Dr. YZ what he thinks the president of Nigeria, for instance, can do differently for us to have the Nigeria of our dreams.
Interesting question. Let me say offhand that there's nothing that the president can do to get us the Nigeria that we want. I think that for me, I have always believed that people are the architects of this life, and that the Nigeria we want is in our hands, not in the hands of the president, the hands of the governor, hands of politicians. It is what we do as individuals and as a collective people who come together, define our goals and pursue those goals. So I have no recommendation that a president should do. rather that I think that all Nigerians collectively, we have to come and agree and decide what sort of Nigeria we want, how can we get that Nigeria and build that consensus and drive ourselves toward that.
Malam YZ. Sanusi Abubakar. Sanusi Abubakar, can you unmute? Sanusi Abubakar, if you are with us, can you unmute yourself for your question? Or your hand is up. Okay,
Maybe
it's
he
like
doesn't know his hand is
Sanusi.
up.
All right, so let's go on very quickly. Time. Hello. Okay, so let's go very quickly and back to me for another very personal question. I was going to ask you, sir. I mean, what did you and your friends, growing up, what do you and your friends, do for fun? Growing up as young people in this same Nigeria that we are today, how do you catch fun in those days? I mean, we want to learn from you.
My biggest fun is to read books and keep on reading books. Read all the magazines that I can lay my hands on. And that we had a competition about who is able to read the largest volume of books in a week. And that we don't just read them, we also meet and discuss books that we have read and try to reach our own understanding of those things that we read. In Kano with colleagues, one of our colleagues today is being celebrated in Lagos, Joel Dulara. Joel was an engineer in Volkswagen company, and we used to have this Sunday meeting. Every Sunday, 10 o'clock, we'll meet at number 10 in Waduse Road, Gedi. And we would debate books, debate philosophy, and do all the sorts of things that will mature our minds. So I think that my colleagues, if there's anything that help them, well, that we spend more of our time on reading books, on understanding society, and debating among ourselves whether we actually understood society or just grappling to understand it.
And I will ask you this because I know from what we have heard about you are not just passionate about Nigeria, you are passionate about learning and you keep learning. And someone said, I mean, the ability to learn, relearn, and unlearn is what shows the genius in us as a person. And so I'm going to ask you, what life skill would you like to still learn, even at this age? What life skill and why?
Well, I think that if I should learn more, it is to become more critical in terms of my reading, be more philosophical in terms of how I understand issues, and to be able to write all the sorts of things that I want to write. So rather than the skills, I think I need enhancement of my faculty so that I can write better things, better books, better articles, and so on. That can resonate with people who have opportunity to read them.
And finally, the last question. Finally, unless there's any question from the house, finally, my question to you will be, what lesson or what message would you like to pass on to the future? I mean, to the future of Nigeria, the future of your mentees, I mean, and the world at large.
I think that often I see a lot of lamentation in the newspapers, in the social media, that our society has gone bad, and everybody is lamenting. Tati, one of our friends, used to argue, organize, don't agonize. So it's important that we organize to address our own problems rather than keep on lamenting, because lamentation would never bring a solution. We must also understand that when people keep on saying the youth are the leaders of the future, that's a convenient lie. The youth are the leaders of today. And so if you don't play your leadership role, then you are mortgaging your future. So right now is the moment that young people have to take this destiny in their hands, shove off all the gerontocrats around, and begin to think of a future, an alternative Nigeria, an alternative world where justice will flourish and where wants will be part of the past history that we do not want to repeat again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Very quickly, there is a question for you from one of our participants here, and he said to ask you to tell us how you manage your time. That is from Mohammed Hassan. He sends his greeting and he wants to know, how do you manage your time, sir?
I think managing time is discipline. You can always, time is a finite thing. It's very small. And so you ensure that you make effective use of it. Each morning I wake up, I draw a list of all the things that I want to do for the day. And as I go along, I keep on ticking those that I have done, those that I'm not able to do. And I try to avoid taking new things that are not on my programs for the day. If it becomes necessary, fine, I have to do it. But often I will have to give another day so that I make sure that I am able to accomplish those things that I have listed to do for the day. One of the things that takes a lot of time is Ira and Hausa. We spend a lot of time gisting, talking, not that they are not good. They are in fact very essential to our life, but that we should be able to strike a balance between what we want to do and what time we want to share with friends, colleagues, and to do a lot of laughter and so forth. So discipline is the key thing in terms of managing time, but also you must plan, because if you don't plan, then you won't know what you want to do. You won't know whether you are achieving what you set to do for the day or not, and you'll end up having carryovers every day. So set up your items of things that you want to do in the day, pursue them vigorously, ensure that you take those that you are able to accomplish, and those acts, why is it that I have not been able to accomplish them? Or what's the obstacle, or what were the things that made it impossible for me to do? And so if you think there are still things that you have to do next day, you plan against those things that made it impossible for you to address them. I think that for me is how I manage my time.
Thank you. Ali Sabo, you have a message in the chat room. Would you want to unmute and talk to us, pay your tribute to Malam YZ, or you prefer that I read it?
Oh, okay. You can read it, Jerry.
I should read it.
Yeah, go ahead. There's no problem. Go ahead. Just read it.
This is a tribute from Ali Sabo. It says, I must confess that Malam YZ has done to me what only few people did to me in my life. Dr. YZ gave me 3 different jobs in a single month. First, he employed me as a hate speech monitor, then as intern, then to assistant program officer. YZ is the reason my voice is being heard in the media. He keeps on telling me that I need to be writing, especially in newspapers, in order to be a real communication student. He always keeps pushing me to do things, even if I think I cannot do them. Thanks to Sir YZ for all the mentorship and believing in me, in my ability and capacity. And that is from Ali Sabo. Thank you very much. And our speaker today added this to it. YZ is voluminous. We should like to hear from Nafisa and Zara YZ. I am waiting to ambush them. By the way, actually, I have this in mind to have them speak also. But before I bring them on, thank you, Dr. Aminu. Before I bring them on, talking about mentorships, what exactly, maybe Jack Vince will agree with me here. At some point, we had some engagement, and the truth of the matter is that mentors are hard to come by. And here we are talking, you are hearing different voices of people testifying to what Dr. YZ has done to them as a mentor and is still doing. Sorry, sir, do you think it is possible to have, how will I put it, some organized way of passing down experiences? Because everybody is busy these days. We are all running the rat race. So it's becoming increasingly difficult to have a mentor-mentee relationship in an effective manner, which was why I said the other time that even if I don't engage with a person, once I see the person as a mentor, that person becomes a book that I study on my own, even without having to discover a person. But what is your take on the issue of mentorship generally between the older and experienced generation and our generation? That will be the last take before we hear from Zara. And
I think that mentorship is actually a very difficult task. I have tried 3 different types of mentoring. When DFID wanted to do a systematic mentoring, it advertised in the newspapers, got young people to apply, and then they got 3 of us. I think it's included Tunde. I'm not sure Tunde is on this board as the people to drive the process. We interviewed them, and then we got mentors from different parts of the country and matched them. Now, this was physical matching. I remember that I had one from Mina who came relocated to Kano and stayed for 1 year with me. And so many people, different. It was an excellent initiative. It was very costly to do. And I think for me, it's not sustainable because the PFID was paying allowance to the mentees. So I also tried what we call e-mentoring, which is to get a couple of people from different parts of the world and then match them using ICT, communicating via social media, email, and so forth. Again, it was very useful, but that this lack of physical contact, unless you have a display, it doesn't really translate into very good experience. So we then in CTAT decided to do something different. And every month, we looked at somebody who we say has a compelling story to tell, somebody with credibility, somebody with a record of achievement, and somebody who has not been tainted by other public corruption or some scandals and so forth. And every month, we bring one person, he comes and tells us about his life. what lessons, what challenges, what regrets, and so on. And I found that to be a very, very useful thing. People learn quite a lot. They realize that people were not just born uh, great and successful, but that they worked hard to achieve success. Again, like all the other tools, that it has its own limitation because it's only available to people who are in Kano, and even people who are in Kano, available only to a limited number of youths because the hall can only take just about 50 young people around. So for me, that the best way to deal with the problem of mentoring is to combine all the different strands of mentoring initiatives, um, combining offline and online, combining formal and informal. But let me conclude by saying that I find that the informal mentoring, in which case that you don't have to have a formal relationship with your mentor, tend to be more effective because you learn from his life, read what he's writing, uh, have conversation, interact, and without subjecting yourself to a mentor-mentee relationship. It's just that you have made it a point in your mind that I'm going to learn one or two things from XX person. And that way, you will be able to learn quite a lot without any structural relationship. But when you say mentors are busy, that in fact is mentoring process. So you observe your mentor to be busy. What is it that makes him or her to be busy? What is it the outcome of being busy? Is it busybody or is it busy being productive and so forth? And so you would also learn quite a couple of things from that experience, Jerry.
Thank you so much, sir. I have another question here. Sorry, we have just like 10, 12 minutes to get out of here. And this question is from Amza Ibrahim that says, YZ, okay, Jerry, please ask Sir YZ what to do if at some point I find reading boring. What do I do if at a point I find reading boring?
Well, just stop reading. Think of something to do. You don't spend 24 hours reading. Take some exercise, do that. Get out and get some your friends, family members, and discuss a couple of things. Maybe try a different book, different genre. Maybe you are reading history. Go and read geography. Sometimes we think that we get stuck because I'm a political scientist, so I must only read political science books. So you get bored by reading the classical political science texts. Take time, go and read literature, go and read something else. In those years in ABU, students of literature, they do a lot of political science, the politics of the novel. I remember that is particularly. But also students of political science do a lot of literature, the politics of literature, and so forth. So diversify your own reading because that's the way you won't get bored. But if you just stick to one genre of books that you are reading, certainly you will get bored. But there are many ways to get around it. As I said, get out, look at your friends, do exercise, and do something else different. And after sometimes you would get the interest to go back to read your books.
Thank you. So before we get to propose a toast to our celebrants, I'd like to quickly invite Zara YZ Ya'u for a brief tribute to our celebrants. And Nafisa should get ready after Zara. Please unmute from your end.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening, Jerry.
Good evening.
Well, it never occurred to me that I would speak here, but anyway, I'm just going to say thank you to you in particular for hosting this and giving me an avenue to know much more around my father, since I never knew that he had gone through actually.
Our father, you mean to say?
Okay, so sorry, our father.
Yeah. Okay, go on. Hello. I think we lost audio. Okay, go ahead. Okay, we lost audio from Sarah. Okay, we lost audio from Zara. Is Nafisa? Let's take Nafisa. Maybe we'll get back to Zara before we wrap it up. We lost audio from Zara. Nafisa.
Hello?
Okay, Zara is back.
Hello?
Okay. Yes. So go ahead. Go ahead, Zara. Okay. Nafisa? Nafisa, can we take you while we wait for Zara to return? Oh, I think it's the same network issue. There. It's still network issue. Okay. Okay. Egbon Olumide, are you in the house? Now is your turn. Please kindly unmute.
Okay,
help us propose a toast to our celebrants and do your tribute, or do your tribute and then propose a toast for the celebrants.
Okay, thanks so much, Jerry, for this wonderful opportunity for me to do a tribute and also to do the toast. Maybe I was tempted to do a poem when Jack Vin did one, but I was just looking through so many poems here. I didn't know which one to pick. I kind of finally decided on one just now. Okay. Which is entitled Pendulum. Yeah. And I'll just do a quick reading of it, then we'll do the toast. So this will serve as a tribute. And as I said, the title is Pendulum. A torrent of eulogies, smiling faces of friends, unending visit from associates, kudos from kinsfolks, gestures from neighbors, obeisance from seniors, praises from priests, approving notes from folks, warming handshakes from elders, drunk on these admirations, fired by self-preservation. I tow forever like a pendulum on my path to fortune's abode, never living life for one day. So that's the end. Of course, this is just also to say that at 60, it's time for our Oga YZ to also live life fully. And of course, life goes on. He has made so much contributions to this country as a person in terms of so many areas where he has worked. I'm so surprised to learn so much about him today. Of course, I've known him for close to 15 years while I was in IDASA, C4C, and some other different agencies, programs that I've worked with when he worked with us in those days. but I never knew so much about him from the angle from which Dr. Aminu talked about him today. So I also want to use this opportunity to wish him all the best that he has desired as a person, and to say we are very grateful to him as a person for his contribution to our country, Nigeria, and to say that the Lord will continue to enrich him, but that in all, life is a continuum. Life should be both working and enjoying. And enjoying is for one to be happy in whatever one is doing. But for all, it's not also good for anyone to work continually without taking time to rest. Because when we ask YZ what he does for resting, he said he's reading and reading and reading. So I also think we also need to take time to relax and to have fun and to have a lot of good things doing going forward. So I wish him the best, and in that instance, I use this opportunity to do the toast. I'm trying to put the video. I'm not even seeing it so that I can see my face. Okay, I think
Yes.
somehow.
Virtual toasts.
So I'm toasting with my glass here, and I think all of us should be doing similar thing.
I am
To say
toasting
we
my
wish
bottle of water.
we wish YZ all the best in this life, and we pray that God will continue to embrace him, and he will continue to serve humanity in whatever area he has chosen, and the Lord will embrace him and continue to favor him as we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you so much.
Amen. Please let us give
YZ all the best.
Amen.
So back to you.
And then we go this way. We can all unmute now and let us sing the birthday song. I was going to play it before, but I think it's better we sing it, and let's sing it. Before we bring Zara back to do the vote of thanks, let us sing Happy Birthday to you.
To you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
To you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to you.
to you.
Oh, so
Okay, great.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
yes.
On, I would like to appeal to us. We have some very beautiful tributes here in the chat room. So I want to encourage as many of us as possible as are here who still want to write such tributes. Please let us do it. Dr. Aminu, are you saying something? Okay, so we would want to request you to still drop your tributes, and we want to try and put them together to do a collage and see what else we can do with that. So please drop your tributes, and I would also drop my email just in case you are not able to meet up to drop your tribute before we shut down. You can send it to me at Jadeshewu.
And Jerry, I want to tease YZ by chanting something that might draw his memories of the past. Another challenge, another challenge, Another challenge, oh. Double challenge, oh. Another challenge, oh. Another challenge, oh. Hey, another challenge, oh. Double challenge, oh. Another challenge. So that's just that one. He knows what that means.
Zara, don't mind me. I was contending Malam YZ with you. He's our father, so you just have to live with that reality. So let me bring you back here now for the vote of thanks. Zara? Zara? Zara, you can unmute now. You can unmute now, and let's have your network is still not our friend.
It's the mic.
Hello?
The mic is muted.
Okay.
Yes, Nafisa is on.
Okay, Nafisa can, yes. Nafisa, please go ahead. Oh my God. Nafisa, you can go ahead if you are on. Okay, so network is still not allowing, unfortunately. Jack Vince.
Yes, I'm here.
Please do the vote of thanks. Network is not allowing Nafisa and Zara. So, over to you.
All right. I want to use this medium to say a very big thank you to the celebrant for agreeing to do this. I want to say thank you for being the father that you are. I want to say thank you for being up there and giving us the platform to tilt our heads looking up to you. I want to thank you because we still have you around for more mentoring, even though you stated it is a difficult thing, but you have been mentoring us by your lifestyle. I want to insist that you continue to do for us those good things we've been doing over the years so that we will live to become better citizens and good people in Nigeria. Thank you very much. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Jack Vince. And this is a message from Zara because of the audio challenge. She says, I'll quickly read the message from Zara to us. Anyway, I would like to appreciate and thank all of you here for this wonderful evening. And to the celebrant, happy birthday. May you live long to see the Nigeria of your dreams. That is the message from Zara. And on this note, I want to say a very big thank you to everyone. This is not live because of the technical challenges, but when we upload, when the video is available for you to see, we'll send the link so that we can revisit this. And like we requested, if you have more tributes to write on our celebrant, do send it to the email address there. If you're able to copy it before we shut down, it's dadeshehu@arojatheater.com. Kindly do send it to us. And once again, I'm seeing Jack's hand up before I shut down. Jack, you just raised your hand.
That was actually a mistake.
Oh, okay, good.
That was
right. So
Jerry,
now I will take a final word from the celebrants.
No, Jerry.
Yes,
Dr. YZ wants to say something.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's part of the program.
Dr. YZ.
Exactly, he's part of the program. That's what I am going to now. He's going to talk now. So we'll just take a final word from our celebrants, Malam YZ. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start with the rider question by Olumide. I'm not sure if you are able to see my environment, but actually I'm in my farm. I'm not in Kano, and my farm just on the bank of the river. So that's mean that I'm actually doing something for relaxation. I like to be in the field, feel the grass, and touch the crops. So that's what I've been doing. I'm actually will be here for the next 3 to 4 days, and I do so almost every fortnightly. So that's not part of the thing that Aminu knows.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So on the final note, let me confess that I'm actually I'm not a celebrating type.
Yeah.
I feel so shy about public outings. Even though I spend the whole of my time making speeches, I don't like making speech actually. That's the truth about it. I'd like to thank everybody for this surprise package. When Jerry talked to me about it yesterday, I wasn't sure whether it was something worthwhile my time, particularly because I knew I was off where I could have a reliable network, being in the farm, also closing away from Zoom. For the past 1 week, I have developed a phobia against Zoom because it's almost every day you get invited of 2, 3, 4, 5 Zooms. So Zoom keep on getting money out of us, and we get on the intensity of the sort of work we do when you are online, which is not often realized by people. And so I think that we all need to de-stress. I want to thank all of you for this honor, and I want to assure you that we will continue to do whatever little, whatever Widow's Mind one will continue to offer in terms of mentoring younger people for a better Nigeria and a better world for all of us flee. My driving spirit is about justice. We need society where justice flourishes. We need society where nobody should be discriminated on the basis of any parameter, whether biological or social. I hope that we will continue to struggle for that, and I'm sure, God willing, one day we will be able to have the society and the Nigeria of our dreams. Thank you very much. God bless.
Boy is a jolly good fellow. Boy is a jolly good fellow. Boy is a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, those of us that have thrown out and in network. I mean, there is little we could do about it. We appreciate your time. We have spent like 15 minutes more than the time we allotted for this, but I am sure it is worth it all. Thank you very much. I will look forward to receiving your tributes. And to our speaker today, Dr. Aminu Hayatu, my great pleasure. I really appreciate such a very short notice, but yet you are able to tell us about the man YZ in just 15 minutes, more than we ever knew. Thank you so much.
My pleasure too. My pleasure having me on this platform. It's a privilege, and I really appreciate.
Thank you, sir.
And
thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you, Jadvins. Thank you, Egbon Olumide. We appreciate you all. Husseini, Ali Sabo, Zara, Ibrahim, Fatima Babakura, Muhammad Hassan, Anas Adomusa, and of course, Arira Wakili, and Sanusi Abubakar. We appreciate you all. Thank you. As we have celebrated Man YZ today, you also will be celebrated in Jesus' name. Thanks, God bless, and bye everyone.
Amen. Ogacheri, I go come for that music. No, I go come.
No problem.
No. I know how I go connive with Jack.
All right, no problem. birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Thank you. Keep it coming. If you can't meet up here, just send it to us by the email. Otherwise, thank you once again. We appreciate you, sir. May God continue to strengthen you. May God keep you for long for us. Yeah, thank you.